All right, so right after recording the previous video, I dove into a live stream, and it was actually a really nice example immediately. So I figured it's worth diving into a very basic practical example because there's more we need to go through before we can really start using the power of the statistics. The next video is going to be a very important one, but I figured, to already get start getting an idea of how this is used in practice, I'm just gonna quickly show you the call or the TA I literally just did after recording the previous video. I want to emphasize again, this is not gonna yet show the full extent of the features that we're usually using, but I think it will give a good idea of how we're using it. So let's dive into that. And I just want to show you a quick video of this live stream. So this was the Minoma Analytics Statistics Dashboard Live TA with Sergio Tesla right there. And let's dive into it. Let's just watch it.
And I'm saying today. Now that today is on, let's look at statistics, the good old juice. And for that, we have our lovely new Minoma Analytics helper. So first, let's look at the daily. You have the daily at hour 1 and the daily P1 at hour 1, the daily P2 at hour 11. We're gonna put that in hour 1, hour 11. And we can actually see there's a crazy.
All right, so don't focus too much yet on what I'm doing here. We're going to dive into that. And now I'm just going to skip a little bit ahead because I'm going to talk about these columns that we haven't covered them yet. So I don't want to confuse you on that part. But let's watch this rest, which is the key.
And P2, 1.6%, 1.1 is an absolute shit hour left. P1, hour 1, P2, hour 11. And we can already see that this is an absolute shit sandwich, P1, or MP2, 1.6%, 1.1%. So that further, for me, proves that this needs to go. So our TA already set, and this is what you want to see right there. So first I do TA, and this for me further proves that, or increased my confidence that this one has to go. So my TA already said, well, I think we need to go for these lows. And now my statistics are saying, well, I think most likely this thing has to go because it's just a very bad low or high, bad P1 or P2. So we do time adjusted, come even more.
All right, and now we're going into time adjusted, which is actually what the next video is about. So we're not going to go into that, but let me just review this real quick in the price action. So what this said is that we had hour 1, which was P1, and hour 11, which was P2. And we just saw here that, this is actually, and especially quite recently, we're going to go into that, but you see this is in the high probability zone to put in the first pivot of the day. You can see this hour just rarely happens, like 11 a.m. UTC rarely happens, 1.7% and 1%. So therefore I concluded, and also, before this I did my TA and I already said, okay, I think we need to go lower based on TA. Like I said in the first video, combine this with your TA, it's the most powerful way to do it. But you could see that this is a very low probability low. So what I was saying in that analysis was, okay, we need to go lower, A, because my TA, B, the statistics are indicating this is a very bad low. So if we look at the example right now, then what do we see? This was daily P1 that I marked out, right? So this one is at 1 a.m. You can see hour 1, and this one is the old P2. Let me actually do that. Old P2 was at hour 11. And so here was my stream, and I said, well, we need to go lower, and I had my magnet here. Because of it, I usually put a nice magnet. And then in the end, we indeed took that out, and we, well, in this case, absolutely hammered down that low. You can't, you don't always know that. You need to use TA also for that, like how far you're gonna go. But I think it already gives a little bit good example that this hour was way more likely to hold than this hour, because this was only a 1% occurrence, and this was, in that high probability zone. And again, we're going to dive more into how to actually use it. Time adjusted filtering is coming up, which is a very important one in how we use our statistics. But just to make things a little bit more practical, wanted to dive into and show this pretty recent example. In future videos, after covering the rest of the content, or the theories and whatnot. We're going to dive into a lot more practical examples so that we can get a good feel of how we use this in real life. But for now, just wanted to show this, and I'll see you in the next video about time-adjusted filtering.